What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Muzzlebroke channel. And today we have a 1,000-round range review of a pretty awesome pistol, and that is going to be the CZ75 SP-01 ACCU Shadow from CZ Customs. This was actually one of my first experiences with a CZ handgun, so it's pretty cool that I was able to test out this CZ Customs build because it does come with a ton of aftermarket features. So in this 1,000-round range review today, we're going to go ahead and go over the specs of the gun, including what specifically CZ Customs did to this weapon, along with the price of this bad boy. We'll go ahead and do some first impressions and first shots. Then, of course, we'll dive into the performance of this gun over the 1,000-round range review. We'll go ahead and compare this little speed demon to one of the other snappy guns in the collection. We will go ahead and dive into the failure points of this gun. We'll kind of go into what I feel the best uses for this weapon system are. And then, of course, we'll give you our overall recommendation should you buy this. So let's go ahead and start with the specs. So the CZ75 SP-01 is going to be a full-size 9mm handgun. This guy comes with three 19-round double-stack 9mm mags. We have a steel frame and a double-action, single-action trigger mechanism. Gun comes with a 4.6-inch cold hammer forged barrel with an overall length of 18.15 inches, a height of 5.79 inches, and a width of 1.46 inches. And of course, we do have a manual safety on this model. Now let's talk about the CZ Customs upgrades. CZ Customs did upgrade the barrel bushing on this guy, which is essentially going to create less play between the bushing and the barrel, further accurizing the gun. They also added a new stainless steel guide plug, which helps with that as well. They did also add the CZ Customs grip to the gun, which actually have a really nice texture on them and really allow you to get a good grip on the handgun. They did mill out this slide, so it is now an RMR cut, but I think the coolest upgrade from CZ Customs on this build has got to be their short reset trigger system, which gives you a really smooth double action pull and an incredibly crisp single action light trigger pull. So at this point, I think the only spec we haven't covered is the cost. So with the gun and all the upgrades from CZ Customs, this bad boy is going to have an MSRP of $1,924, which obviously is a bit of a cost. So let's figure out if it's worth it. Let's dive into some first impressions. So taking this gun right out of the box, the first thing I noticed was kind of the balance of the weapon. We do have a metal frame on this guy, which gives it a little bit more bulk and weight, but it does feel really well balanced in a hand. And I think a lot of that is to do with the custom grips they sent. Aside from being really well balanced, I think the first thing you really notice when you start dry firing the gun is how smooth the trigger and the action is. You know, especially when we're comparing that to something like a revolver, another DASA gun, that double action pull is just, oh, it's light years smoother. Same thing with the single action pull, very smooth and crisp as compared to a lot of other guns. It's just a very smooth running action. So after playing around at the house, I was very excited to get this sucker to the range. So without further ado, first shot to the CZ Customs build. Oh, that is flat. Okay, I did not expect it to be this fast. That is a fast shooting gun right there. Hopefully all the smoke keeps the bugs away too. But honestly, that was a phenomenal first mag. That was 19 rounds, and that shoots flatter than I thought it was going to. So I was actually really shocked how this gun shot. Not that I have ever heard anything bad about CZ Customs or CZ guns in general, but I just was not expecting the gun to shoot as fast and as flat as it did. I know I'm a little bit of a character, but truly at the range, like, I just could not get over how a gun with no ports, no compensator, that is actually double action, single action, was running as fast and as flat as it did. And honestly, that's just kind of some credit to CZ Customs. I'm not gonna lie, this gun really impressed me to the point where I don't really think there's a point in comparing it to a standard Glock or SIG, because it's absolutely just going to outrun it. But the Springfield Prodigy with these beautiful V8 ports and a 2.5-pound trigger job is arguably the fastest handgun I have in the collection. So I really wanted to put this gun head-to-head against the Springfield Prodigy to see which gun I'm actually faster with. So we're going to go ahead and do a build drill, starting with the Springfield Prodigy. So it's a 1.25 there, and we'll go ahead and run that same drill with the CZ Customs build. So a 1.11. So very close times between these two guns, but I was actually able to outrun the Springfield Prodigy with the CZ Customs. And to be honest, that's incredibly impressive because this gun has V8 ports, this gun does not. They both do have upgraded triggers, but I mean, the proof's in the shot timer, and I shot faster with the CZ. Oh, I was out of bullets. Again, just incredibly impressive that a gun without ports or without a compensator is actually going to shoot flatter and faster than some of these other race guns that we got. And that really just kind of goes to show the quality of the CZ Customs work, integrated with that stock CZ gun to really make for a very speedy and efficient platform. All right, so we're at the part of the 1,000-round range review that I was kind of hoping wouldn't happen, but knew in my heart that it probably would. And that's going to be when we start to get some failures with the gun. Now, why am I saying I kind of knew this was going to happen? Whenever you're dealing with a highly modified gun, there are just going to be some trade-offs. When you start to add aftermarket comps, recoil springs, triggers, hammers, that sort of stuff, the gun is a lot more finely tuned, which does allow us to usually shoot faster and flatter, but often does just decrease the reliability, which is kind of to be expected. So let's go ahead and show you guys that first malfunction we had at the range. Oh, it's feeling a little weird. So it does look like we have a little failure to extract here. I was using some crappier rounds, but I don't know. That's the first malfunction we've had in the 1,000 round range review. So I don't know, let's keep on shooting it. Ooh. She getting dirty. Okay, so I know I said failure to extract there and then extracted a live round, but that was definitely a failure to feed and seat that next live round. And this did happen right at about the 550 round mark. So that failure to feed and seat continued every like 2 to 5 rounds for the next 100, 150 rounds or so, incredibly consistently. So at that point, we kind of called the review. For this 1,000 round range review, we were using PMC Bronze 115 grain FMJ, which, you know, I know is not the best ammo, but hey, it's the Muzzle Broke channel. Anyways, we were getting those failures to feed. And I really do just think that's due to the fact that the system is so finely tuned that it got really gummed up and it just wasn't slamming home hard enough to get that next round to seat. I got a couple of live rounds loaded up. Let's see if I can recreate that malfunction. So obviously if I slam this home, it's probably gonna go, but if I just kind of gently release it, yeah, see, we kind of get that little failure to feed, and that's just probably due to just some of the debris, grime on the feed ramp and in the internals of the gun. So let's kind of address the next question of, does that matter, and what are my thoughts of this gun kind of failing around that 600 round mark? And to be honest, for me, I don't really care that much. This is a highly tuned, fast, efficient gun out of the box that really competes and honestly outperforms a lot of the other high-end, highly modified handguns I have in the collection. Would I feel very comfortable running this as a home defense nightstand gun? Absolutely, and I think it would really shine in that role. It's a metal frame, heavy gun, very well balanced, high capacity, shoots really fast and really flat, but am I gonna pick this as my like end of the world, trudge through the jungle, mud, desert handgun? Yeah, probably not. I'm gonna choose something like a Glock for that role, but again, we're talking trade-offs. The Glock's gonna be a little snappier, it's not as nice feeling, it's not as well balanced, it's not gonna shoot as fast, but it does have more reliability. You know, so would I be pissed if my Glock failed at 600 rounds? Yeah, I absolutely would, because that's what this gun is kind of made to do. This gun is made to run and run hard. And not that this CZ Customs build isn't, it's just one of those things, when you finely tune a gun, you decrease the reliability a little bit. And I really kind of run into those malfunctions with all my highly upgraded handguns, like the upgraded Prodigy and the upgraded 226. Just after a good couple hundred rounds, the tolerances in the systems goop up and they start to fail. But for a build like this that you're not really gonna be thrown in the dirt, thrown in the mud, sand, and expecting it to work, I'm okay with needing to clean the gun at about 600 rounds, especially just given the trade-off of the sheer performance you get out of this piece. So let's wrap this up in a nice pretty little bow. Do I recommend the CZ Customs 75 SP-01 ACCU Shadow, despite its $1,924 price point? And the short answer is gonna be yes, but with some caveats. The biggest caveat being, what are you looking for in a gun? If you're looking for an incredibly fast, flat shooting, highly tuned gun that you could both have a ton of fun with at the range, run in competitions, or use as a very high-end nightstand gun, I would say this is absolutely worth that cost and really excels in those roles. Now, obviously, I wouldn't really recommend this for an everyday carry gun. It's a pretty heavy gun due to the metal frame, and personally, I probably would want my everyday carry gun to last 1,000 rounds, but could I absolutely shoot this faster than any everyday carry gun I've ever shot in my life? Yeah, 100%. If you're looking for a gun that you're never gonna have to clean and you want to be reliable no matter what, am I gonna recommend you spend $1,900 on this? Probably not. I'd maybe go with something like a standard Glock and accept the fact that it's gonna be a little snappy, a little bit higher recoiling, but you would get that extra reliability. So all that being said, if you're in the market for an awesome nightstand gun and don't mind spending a little bit more money, this absolutely checks that box for me. I also really think it excels at a out-of-the-box option for an incredibly fast and speedy race gun. Unlike the 226 build we did here, you're not gonna have to buy a pricey gun, spend a bunch of money hunting down upgrades, installing the upgrades yourself, tuning the weapon yourself, in order to get a pretty speedy, high-efficiency package. Because with the CZ Customs build, you're getting all that right out of the box. So I know $1,900 is pretty pricey, but in my opinion, if you want a gun that's gonna be a speed demon, damn, that thing is fucking fast, and shoot incredibly accurately, quickly, and proficiently out of the box, this is a great option. And I mean, this gun is just incredibly sexy. So I hope you guys enjoyed the 1,000 round range review of the CZ Customs CZ75 SP-01 ACCU Shadow, because I sure really did enjoy shooting it. For our next range reviews, we are going to be doing a 1,000 round range review of this little AR9, the EP9 by XTAR. We will also have a 1,000 round range review of this incredibly beautiful Zastava M90 5.56 AK in this Serbian Redwood. So make sure that you guys are subscribed, because these are going to be truly a ton of fun to review at the range. I do really appreciate you hanging out with me today and watching this video. It does really mean a lot to me. Drop me a comment down below. Tell me, do you think the CZ Customs build is worth that cost? And also, I want to hear your opinions on if I should port this gun or not, because I'm kind of thinking maybe I could get it even faster and flatter shooting. But someone down in the comments either talk me in or out of that, please. But I hope you guys have an incredible week. Y'all stay safe out there, and I will catch you at the next Muzzlebroke video.